Hey everyone, it's Raw Dog Rory here, and it's day 7 of our GeekedFu challenge, and it's the day after my birthday, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who left such amazing comments in the post that Bunny Berry put up, and all the people leaving awesome comments and messages on Facebook and YouTube. You guys all freaking rock, man. You totally made my day. And now, today, the day after my birthday, I'm going to be making myself a belated birthday cake. And this recipe I just concocted last night. I was thinking about it. I have no measurements plotted out. So there will be no measurements, and it's just going to be made up on the fly as I go. And it kind of combines elements of two of my all-time favorite birthday cakes. One of which is a icebox cake. If any of you have ever had that, well, an icebox cake is basically alternating layers of pudding and bananas and graham crackers. And the other one is a German chocolate cake. And this cake that I've concocted in my brain is going to combine the elements of those two cakes into one tasty creation. Well, I hope it's going to be tasty. Like I said, I've never made this before. Just whipping it up right now. And I want to encourage you all to do the same. If you got some recipe that's floating around in your brain, just go ahead and play around and do it. See if it works. Don't be afraid to experiment in the kitchen. It's not going to hurt. And so right now I'm making the crust of this cake, and I'm just using shredded coconut. And like I said, no measurements, so it's kind of weird for me. I can't say, hey, here's a half a cup of this or a half a cup of that. But putting some shredded coconut in our food processor here. And whenever I do a crust for a cake or pie, I like to get all my dry ingredients processed together first before I start adding any of the binder, whether the binder be honey, dates, or other dried fruits that are going to stick it together. And so I'm popping a little bit of vanilla bean powder in there to flavor it up. And I want this to be a chocolate cake, so I'm going to be putting some cacao in there. Oh, yes. A little bit of cacao up in there, maybe a lot of bit of cacao. And to give it that kind of baked good taste, baked goods always have a little hint of saltiness to them, and that's from the butter and salt that people put in there. And baking soda gives it that salty taste. So we're just going to put a pinch of salt in there to give it that baked good quality. And we're going to give this a quick pulse to get all our dry ingredients pulverized. Look at that color change. Voila! And now, to bind it together, I have some lovely big fat sticky medjool dates that I've pitted and pre-checked for bug poopies as usual. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the food processor on and pop open the chute. This way I can see what's going on in there as I'm adding them in to the desired stickiness. Check that out. See how the cake layer, like the cake layer of this recipe, is starting to come up and stick to the sides, and you could actually see. Check this out. This it's pulling away from the center there. That's how you know that you're starting to get that cake-like consistency you're looking for. And you'll notice that with pie crust, and you're making like a crust layer for raw cinnamon rolls. That's what you want to look for. When it starts riding the sides, you know it's getting close to ready. Now, you're going to be layering this in a springform pan. And to keep it from sticking to the base of the pan, because I'm going to invert this when it's done, I'm just going to put down a little thin layer of shredded coconut. And I'm going to start layering my cake on here. And what's cool about this cake that I've concocted is, see its consistency? It's kind of spongy and sticky. It's gonna take no time to set up. It's not gonna need refrigeration to get it going. It's not gonna need to be frozen, dehydrated. It's gonna be good to go as soon as it's done, I hope. This ought to be neat. And now I'm just gonna press down this first layer here. Grab a little bit of water. When you're doing cakes and pie crusts, and you notice that you're working with dates and dry material, it's kind of sticky, moisten your hand, and then that way you can just press it right down and it won't cling to you. So now we got our top layer of cake going on here. And to give it that quality of the icebox cakes that I've loved so much in many birthdays that I've had, I'm going to be layering some banana in here. Just toss it in there. Not trying to make it look uber pretty because we're doing a video. And Amanda's rolling her eyes at me, but it's all good. There we go. Layer of bananas. And some more cake. Whoops. Plop that there. Get this out of the way. And spreading our cake layer around here. Looking good. Move some more junk out of the way here. Now for the moment of truth. We're going to flip this bad boy. Oh. Keep your fingers crossed for me, people. Oh, I think we have success. Oh yeah, not bad at all. All right, now for the frosting. Now I don't know about you, but I love peanut butter frostings, but I'm not going to be doing the peanut butter thing, so I'm making an almond butter frosting, and this one is uber on the fly here because I just know the basic ingredients that I want to put in this, and that's all you need to know when you're creating a recipe for yourself is that, you know, just get a rough idea of the taste you're going for. Think of what things you have around the house that taste like that, and experiment with throwing them together. You know, it doesn't hurt to play around. I'm going to be popping some almond butter in here. Oh yes. And to sweeten it up, if I could get the jar lid off, a little bit of honey. Like I said, no measurements. It's all good. And you'll notice that another tip that I want to give you when you're playing around concocting your own recipes, if you see a recipe in a book and it calls for ingredients that you're not too fond of, experiment with doing less or none of those ingredients when you actually make the recipe. And, you know, see how it comes out. You know, usually you can always add to them later. But, you know, trust your gut. You know, it's your taste buds. People all have different tastes. So kind of work with what you know you like the taste of. Okay, I put just a little pinch of salt in there. And to get it going, I'm going to put a little bit of water, just a little bit, because I want this to be kind of semi-thick frosting. And a little pinch of, where did I put it? There we go, sorry. A little pinch of vanilla powder. Like I said, this is totally on the fly, so this is fun. There we go. That out of the way. And now we blend. Give this a quick taste here. Oh, that is perfect. Oh, yes. Love when it happens right the first time. But if it doesn't, don't worry about it. Taste as you go. See how it is. And if you need to add things, add things. Do not be afraid. Now, we're going to frost this bad boy. Oh, yes. That looks really good. Actually, I think I made a little too much frosting, but that's okay. Trust me, we will find a use for this stuff. Heck, you could even make a smoothie out of those leftovers. Pop that on there, get that out of the way, and we are going to frost this cake a bit here. You'll notice some of that shredded coconut that I use to prevent the sticking to the pan is actually preventing the sticking of my frosting, but that's okay. You just work at it a little bit. And if a little bit gets mixed into the frosting, that's all good because it'll just remind me even more of those German chocolate cakes that I used to be so fond of because they contain a lot of shredded coconut blended right into the frosting. So it's all good. And make that look a little pretty. And today I want you all to write a recipe that you've been concocting in your brain or you just concocted now of things that you think would taste good together. It doesn't have to be a Perzac recipe, you know, just write out your thoughts down below and then go ahead and make it, you know, and see what you think about it. It's always fun to experiment, and who knows, man, you could have some really awesome raw recipes that you totally adore, and that's what it's all about. You want to go by your tastes and the kind of foods you love, because you're going to be the one eating this stuff, and you want to keep rocking on your raw food journey, so you want to make sure you're making things that you're going to love. So let's pop that in there, and where's my knifey knife? That sounded kind of cool. And we're going to cut a slice of this. Like I said, because it's so firm, we don't need to set it up in the fridge before we cut into it. Probably get a little firmer in the fridge, but this is totally doable. And really on the fly here, I don't have a plate. It's all good. It's my birthday cake, and I'll be a slob if I want to. Let's see. Oops. That came out pretty darn awesome for a recipe on the fly. So let's see what recipes you can concoct on the fly. Peace out.